Yeah. So thanks for saying this, but I'm going to reiterate on one of the um, questions which I asked you, which I'm sure you just omitted it. Government funding for rugby versus football in Nigeria is not even a comparison. We all know
Yeah,
football dominates everything. Is the federation getting a meaningful support from the Ministry of Sports? And how do you make a case for rugby at the table? That is what you forgot to respond to.
yeah. So remember, I told you Dr. Are used to work in the ministry and has experience. He's a very experienced sport administrator. So I can tell you for a fact that the the response from government has been encouraging, a lot better than what it used to be. I can seize this opportunity to thank the leadership of the NSC, headed by Mr. Shehu Diko and Mr. Bukola Lokpade, for the great work that they've been doing. So there's a renewed hope in that area that sports will get the right attention and funding that it needs, because sports is really nothing without funding. So we're very hopeful, and we've been getting some assistance from them. For example, when the balls came in, the NSC took charge and helped us to clear it at the ports, and that showed, that shows commitment to sports development. One or two other things, when we went to Ghana, they were able to support the boys to play last year, and we're really hoping to be able to engage them. We're engaging them more. We have a lot on their table. Most of our requests gets the right attention, and we're hoping for the best really from them.
Thanks for that, because I'm hoping the Nigerian thing. People are always saying we're hoping that Nigeria won't happen to you. So it's a good thing that you are able to clarify the fact that the government is supporting rugby. That is very reassuring for what you just said now. So we're moving on, because I know we have a lot to cover. So we're gonna be moving, fast, and I like the fact that the way you are responding, and which brings us to Nigeria and South Africa. The comparison, people have been wondering. South Africa has won Rugby World Cup 3 times. The club system, the school system, the provincial structures are the envy of the world rugby everywhere. When you look at South Africa's model, what is one thing Nigeria must borrow and build right on right now?
I think it's the school system, to be honest. South Africa's dominance begins in schools.
Okay.
So you have some traditional rugby schools in South Africa: JP Boys, Grey College, Paul Roos, Boland, and Lambu. So where rugby is not just a sport, it's a cultural institution. It's a tradition for them. Children arrive at provincial and then Springbok level, having played thousands of hours of structured, competitive, and high level, rugby from age 12 or 13. So, the technical foundation is immense before they ever see a professional contract.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't. I've been to South Africa and played against University of Cape Town. I played against Métis, that's Stellenbosch universities. I played against a lot of teams. I played against, So what I noticed is that, take Unilag for example, or a university in Nigeria. They have different halls where students live, where they stay. Each hall in South Africa has a team,
Hmm.
and each hall is capable of giving some countries a beating. I'm not even talking about the school team. I'm not even talking about the school team. I'm not talking about
Really?
Unilag. I'm not talking about Unilag team. I'm talking about the hall. Let's say Fajri Hall, for example.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So each hall is capable of giving many African national teams a beating of their lives. So that's how serious rugby is in South Africa. So just to give you that context, to give you that context. So that's how serious rugby is in South Africa. So For example, I told you we played Boland against Boland the last time. Boland are like a Cell C, they were Cell C champions, which is like the FA Cup or Carling Cup champions of South
Okay.
Africa that year. And they came to the competition in the Africa Cup in Botswana in 2013, 2014, and they beat everybody. They beat all the national teams. They are not even the Western Province. They are not even you're not talking MTN Bulls or Sharks, Chelsea Sharks. You're talking about a team that won the FA Cup. So South African rugby is, you know, it's not a coincidence. It is result of decades of investment in coaches, facilities, curriculum integration. The single most important thing Nigeria can do right now is deepen the schools rugby program. Have more qualified coaches in schools. PE teachers, how do we, develop them and upskill them properly for them to be able to coach the game, inter-house school competitions, and more pathways from school rugbies. So once they leave that school, there needs to be a club close to them where they can now integrate into that club. So if they're able to do that, you then have that pathway continuing. That person is not going to stop playing all of a sudden because, for example, we have a big challenge. When we coach them in secondary school and they go off to uni, sometimes we lose that player because 4 years in uni, no rugby, there's no way you can't buy that in the market. So that's why we've gone to Nuga. We're speaking with the technical team. They're giving us some approvals. We're now looking to now go into the universities and be in the next Nuga games. If we're able to do that, then we're the pathway, the spine of the pathway is then restructured to continue into high performance. So for us, it's a lot of work. We're doing that with Rugby Rising at the moment. The program is gearing up. It's getting popular. But I do not believe that we need generations to meet up with South Africa because South Africa started from a very different context. So for us, theirs was structured by the apartheid. The apartheid, in a way they gave certain communities immense resources and others, they gave them nothing.
Yeah.
Nigeria, we are starting from a more level playing field domestically. We live in a world of accelerated development where social media, digital coaching tools are available now. And global networks, people can reach out to a coach and get trained, on the internet. So we can fast track things. Japan rebuilt their program, and roughly 15 years, they started competing well at the World Cup. So we are studying that model of Japan very carefully with the right investment and right governance. Nigeria's timeline to genuine World Cup contention is shorter than that of South Africa, when you look at the analogy. But we also have the advantage of the diaspora community.
Yeah.
Nigeria has a huge diaspora community. Yeah. Many of them are now rugby professionals. One of them captains England. So
I don't want to go into that because that's my next
question. So, exactly.
That's my next question. You've already started on it. So you made mention of diaspora now. And like I said, I'm going to go into it now. Since you made mention of it. To be honest, what really gave me an awareness into this discussion, which I'm having with you now, or about Nigerian Rugby Federation, is the video that went viral about some of the people that are in diaspora, some of the rugby players that are in diaspora, that they were, what's your Nigerian name? What's your, it is made mention of the English name, then the Nigerian. So, and whilst I posted this on my social media platform, few people ask me that, do we have, especially Nigerians in diaspora that are living in South Africa, they ask me, do we have a rugby team? I said, my goodness, yes, we do have a rugby team, but people are not aware. So now they are doing well abroad. So the question remains that we have Mario Itoje, which you made mention, which is England captain, and one of the best players in the world, is of Nigerian descent. How does that make you feel as the GM? And How can we make that happen? The people that are here, players that are here, how can we make it happen that they play for at the test level, especially people that are of Nigerian descent? How can we make that happen?
Well, that is already happening. In 2023, when we went off to Mauritius, more than half of that team is diaspora Nigeria, and some of them, because we always try to make sure that we have domestic players in the squad at every point to give it that balance and to also give the guys here something to aspire to. And that's not to say that we compromise on talent or abilities. We have good players here that have. See, the average Nigerian is physically suited for the game of rugby. The speed, the strength, the physique, it suits our idiosyncrasies as Nigerians. So I'll say that it's already happening. What we're trying to do now is to be able to get the best of them to play for us. There's a little barrier when it comes to UK, United Kingdom. Our players in the United Kingdom in the Premiership, there's what you call the EQP, the England Qualified Player Rule. All of them carrying that British passport are qualified to play for England. And they also carry the Nigerian passport. So now, once they play for Nigeria, they lose that status.
Okay.
And that could cost them their job, could cost them their place in the team. Because now they will now stop being referred to as homegrown talent. They will now be referred to as international. So now when you're an international talent, there's a quota system as to how many international players can start a game, can be in the sport, can have a contract. So it starts to affect those boys. So we've tried to get the RFU to pipe down a little bit, but it's not working for now. So what we're now doing is that since we can't get the boys in the Premier League, let's come look to the lower leagues. So there's after the Premier League, you have the Championship, you have the National 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right now we're still getting the guys in the lower end, but if we get more structure and we get more investment, we will be able to get anybody we want. But it's not the same for France. For France, we can get anybody we want. For USA, we can get anyone. For every other country, Ireland, Australia, whatever. But we have the majority of our boys in the UK, and I believe, for example, that we can qualify for the Olympic Games if we want to. If we really structured, if we put our acts together, and we rally around, get our boys buzzing, I think we can do it. Recently, Elliot Obato Imbo, who is the son to one of my big uncles, Uncle Ibi. He plays for Newcastle Falcons, and he has publicly said that he wants to help grow the sport in Nigeria. So it makes me feel two things when you ask me about Maro Itoje and how do I feel. I feel the simultaneous pride as well as urgent determination. So why the pride? Because every time Maro leads England out, one of the greatest rugby nations in the world, there's this piece of Nigeria in that leadership, that athleticism, that intelligence. His parents are Nigerians, his roots are here, and the world sees that what that heritage produces, Nigerian heritage. The determination for me is can be attributed to because we cannot keep the country that produces world-class rugby players for other nations. That is not sustainable as a national rugby system. So we don't have a sustainable national rugby ambition. So Maro's journey happened because he was raised in that environment and nurtured. England school system. He went to Harrow, went to Saracens Academy, that now identified, nurtured, and elevated his talent to what it is, which is extraordinary. Our job here in Nigeria is to build that Nigerian equivalent of that system. So build that environment. How do we do it? It's a lot of work. It's a huge work to do. We're not there yet, but what I'm trying to say is the rugby rising play is one of those. Once we introduce the Get Into Rugby, we'll have a national talent pathway system designed to address those gaps. And one day Nigeria will produce its own Maro Iteje, and then wear the green and white, green, white, green. So our position is to be proactive and welcoming. So we walk through our technical staff. For example, our coaches from diaspora, Coach Steve Lewis from the US, is originally Scottish. We have assistant coaches over there. We're also building that capacity here to be able to meet up. I think they are now in their level 3 mode. So once they are done with their level 2, they'll be qualified to lead the national teams. That would be the.
So for us, our international contacts are intact. We're identifying those talents, we're bringing them in, integrating them in gradually, and our diaspora is a strategic asset, and we treat it as such. So we have that. We've been able to break the dichotomy. We don't have that bureaucratic obstruction anymore. So we want every player of Nigerian heritage to see playing for the Stallions as an honor and an opportunity, not an administrative maze or what have you. So the diaspora is very key in our strategy to emerging as a top rugby nation.